Apple just showed off iOS 14 at its virtual WWDC conference yesterday, and it brings a lot of great new features to the iPhone. But if you're a longtime Android user, some of those features might look a little familiar. Let's talk about a few of the ways Android influenced the latest version of iOS. Let's start with a big one. Widgets are finally coming to the home screen in iOS. You don't just have to stare at a grid of icons anymore. So in iOS 14, widgets can be resized to 2x2, 4x2, or even larger, and they dynamically update with new information to fit their size. It's almost more like Windows Phone's live tiles than Android's widgets, but whatever you want to call it, it's a huge step in the right direction. I personally don't use many widgets on my OnePlus 8, but I love having the option to put my to-do list or calendar on my second home screen. There's also sort of an app drawer in iOS now. Well, technically Apple's calling it the app library, but it's the same basic idea. If you swipe all the way to the right of your home screens, you'll reach a list of automatically categorized smart folders that group all of the apps on your phone. You can also tap the search bar at the top of the screen to pull up a vertically scrolling list. This is pretty much exactly what Android's been doing for years. While more stock builds of Android don't let you group your apps by folders in your app drawer like you can on, say, a Samsung phone running One UI, you can still swipe up from your home screen to see everything in one place. Another feature I'm happy to see coming to iOS is picture-in-picture video. This is something we've had on the Android side since version 8.0 Oreo, but better late than never, and I actually really like the way Apple's doing it. In the Android 11 beta, Google added the ability to resize your PIP windows by dragging along the corners, but the touch targets are so small that you end up just moving the window half the time. It's frustrating, and with iOS 14, you can just pinch and zoom to resize instead. You can also hide the picture-in-picture window in a sidebar to keep the audio playing but the video out of the way. So back in 2017, Google launched the initial test of Android Instant Apps, which lets you run lightweight apps and games without actually having to install them on your phone. About a year later, it was renamed to Google Play Instant, and with iOS 14, Apple is introducing its own take called App Clips. The concept is basically the same. Scan a QR code or tap a web link, and you'll be taken to a small, temporary version of the corresponding app. App clips also show up in the app library after you use them, and you get a shortcut to the App Store for downloading the full version. Lastly, and this is a big one, you can finally set default apps in iOS. This has been a long time coming, and as an avid Gmail and Chrome user, it's been one of my biggest frustrations whenever I've used an iPhone in the past. Now, before you get too excited, this only applies to your email and browser apps. You still can't set Spotify as your default music player or Google Assistant as the default voice assistant, but it's a great start, and hopefully other default apps will soon follow suit. As always, there are pros and cons to both Android and iOS, and while it's easy to poke fun at how Android has had these features for years, this update just means that more people will have access to the same great features no matter what platform they prefer. Thanks for watching this video, and let me know what you think about iOS 14 in the comments down below. Let's keep it civil, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and head over to AndroidCentral.com to read more iOS takes from an Android perspective. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you around.